Well, thank you for showing up at 9 a.m. on a Saturday. I know some of us were out in town last night, so I'm seeing something. Yeah, still recovering. I appreciate it that you guys are here. We see a few empty seats, but I'm sure it's going to fill up. And really want to make it worth your while this morning. My name is Yavor. I'm a program manager working on the Azure team over at Microsoft in Seattle. And I wanted to talk to you today about unleashing your creativity with the power of the cloud in the Android apps you're building. And when you say creativity, the first thing that came up to me is something that's been recently in the news. I want to talk about Minecraft today. How many of you have heard of Minecraft? All right, almost all of you. How many of you have played Minecraft before? A handful. For those of you that haven't played it, it's sort of this massive multiplayer game. It's really meant to be extremely open-ended. It's more about sort of creating a world and exploring it and kind of expressing yourself. Not so much about meeting some game objectives or killing some villain. It's just more about creativity and just going nuts and doing what's fun for you. So, how many of you have heard the recent news about the Minecraft acquisition? Okay. So Microsoft just spent $2.5 billion acquiring Minecraft, and the tech press, why do we buy this Minecraft game? Like, why does Microsoft have to contribute to this massive community of creators? It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, The Verge wrote about it, TechCrunch wrote about it. So I wanted to give you guys a little treat for being here early morning on a Sunday. So I wanted to tell you the real reason behind this acquisition. Okay, so get your Twitter ready and your hashtags all sorted. This is going to be huge, and you heard it here first. Clippy. All right, Clippy. We're bringing the unparalleled productivity of Microsoft Office to Minecraft. This new generation of potential Office users, they all going to see this first thing they do in the game. It's going to pepper them with useful hints like, looks like you're trying to play Minecraft. Let me randomize you and take you away from whatever you're trying to do. And it's going to be that big. No, it's really not that. It's not going to be, sadly. But we do love Minecraft, and it's been pretty, the acquisition is so recent that nobody, even internally in the company, has really processed it in any meaningful sort of way. So sadly, I don't have any sort of scoop. However, we do love Minecraft very much, and there's a lot of enthusiasm inside the company. And a lot of people actually tinker with it and play with it, including on my own team. So when we were starting to prepare for this keynote last week, Jeff actually suggested, I said, why don't you do something cool with Minecraft? And I actually went around to my team, and I found 2 or 3 people, and they all wanted to chip in. And we said, let's build a cool Android demo that does something with Minecraft. So we went ahead and did that. It took us a couple of days, but I think it worked out really well. So basically what we did is we built a companion experience to Minecraft, so you can sort of keep track of things happening in the virtual world, in the physical world. So we'll do things like send you notifications when something happens inside the game, or we'll let you check in on your little in-game inventory, your diamonds and gold, stuff like that you have inside the game. So I'm ready to share that with you guys. I also have some really killer slides. So who wants to see slides? Who wants to play video games? I really was going to do the slides. Okay. This is going to be a little bit tricky because the podium is all slanted. But let's play some Minecraft. See that. Here's my screen, and I'm just gonna jump right back into the game. And sadly, it is a night, so let's make it morning. Actually, let's set it to noon. And here we are, the world of Minecraft. It's, for those of you who haven't seen it before, it's kind of blocky. It's kind of like Legos for adults, but incredibly open-ended. And you notice my character's actually just flying around in the air, just exploring. Here, there's a little cave I can check out. Just flying through this canyon. And again, this is an incredibly creative community where you can just put together whatever you want, and you can do whatever you want. There's a dragon you can kill, but there's zombies that try and get you at night. That's pretty much the gameplay mechanic. Like, there isn't much else for you to do. But you can go, breaking stuff, break some stuff here, fly around. Here's my little village. We won't break anything here. I'll show you my house later. But you know, it's just this beautiful world that you can just do whatever you want with. And currently I'm in what they call creator mode, which is why I can build things and break things. There's a herd of sheep here just randomly chilling out. Go, you know, lunch a sheep if we want. Yeah, he's cool. We'll leave him alone. So here we are, Minecraft. So let's fly over to my house here. Here's my little porch. And just touch down. All right, and this is where I have all my important valuables, and you know, it's where, you know, the place I really care strongly about. This is the place I want to keep track of in my companion Android app that I built. And I do have some really pesky neighbors. I mean, check out those two guys. They're just kind of fighting or staring each other down. And then there's, you know, this guy over here who just kind of creepily stares through my back window and keeps doing that. So definitely need a security system in place here. So the first thing I wanted to build is actually something that sends me a push notification whenever someone opens the door to my house. Let me just make a little bit of room here, and I'll bring up the simulator, and just make sure my app is installed. Great. So let's go ahead and walk through the door. Walk right in. And here's my little house. Now, if you paid attention closely in the simulator while I was doing that, I got this little notification right up here in the corner. If I slide down the notification center, intruder alert, right from the world of Minecraft into the physical world, it's letting me know someone's in my house. Pretty cool, right? So heading back into my house here, let's go and explore. I also have a little chest here where I keep all my valuables. So let's crack that open and see what I have. You know, some diamonds, some redstone, whatever that is. You know, important stuff. So that's the kind of thing I want to keep track of. So in my Android app, I kind of treat it like a banking app. You know, I want to check my balance, see how much diamonds I have. Someone come and give me extra diamonds, I want to know that. So if I click on the notification, I'll actually pull up my app. And in my app, I actually have a copy of my in-game inventory available for me to browse. So if, you know, let's say a couple diamonds go missing here. Let's say someone steals most of them. And they go, oops, and they go ahead and close the chest. I can then go to my app. Refresh. And there you go, we're down to just 6 diamonds. So again, physical world, virtual world, talking to each other. Pretty cool. So when I wanted to go ahead and start building this, the first piece I needed is an endpoint in the cloud. I needed basically something that Minecraft can call out to and send this information to. So that's one of the capabilities I needed. Another capability is storing data, right? My app doesn't talk directly to Minecraft when it wants to show me this list. It actually talks to a cache in the cloud that has this information. And the third thing is the ability to send push notifications when the game wants to let me know of some event. So I do work at Microsoft, so we do have a cloud story. It's called Microsoft Azure. And funny enough, we do have a solution that kind of fits the bill for this. And I'll just walk you through it. It's actually very easy to get it done. So I'll dive into the Azure portal here. And this is kind of where you do everything cloud related if you're building an app with Azure. And on the left, you see we have a bunch of capabilities here. We have virtual machines, websites, etc. The one you really care about if you're a mobile developer is called mobile services. And I have a few of them right here. The one that I brought up on screen is the one I'm using for my demo. And I can easily create a new one if I just go new compute mobile service. I can just give it a name. Food. I can use an existing database, or there's a 20 megabyte free option. But I already have a database, so I'll just pick that. Pick my database, type in my admin password, and hit the little check mark here. And that's all it takes to provision a cloud backend. About 15 to 20 seconds later, this will just be ready for you to use, an HTTP endpoint in the cloud. So compare that to what we traditionally have to do, which is spin up a VM, spin up a database, figure out what frameworks to use to hook those two together. This is just a much simpler and productive experience. Literally, under a minute, you'll have a service and a database in the cloud. And once the creation completes, it will look somewhat like this, and we call this our quick start. And the quick start lets you get started writing an app in 3 easy steps. Get the tools, which you all already have because you're an Android conference. Create a table, so this just creates a table in the cloud. And then you download a customized starter app. So this basically is a project that looks very similar to the app I just showed you, and it has all the connection information to the cloud already pre-configured. So you don't have to worry about doing any wiring. You just run it in the emulator, and it just works, and it starts talking to the cloud right away. So it's that easy to get started here. Across the top, you'll see we have a bunch of tabs with some other functionality that comes baked into your mobile service. There's the data tab for dealing with your tables and things like that. The API tab for building these HTTP lightweight APIs. You can run cron jobs using the scheduler tab. This is where you configure push notifications, authentication, and then scale. You can manually scale as you add rows. Let's say you're a breakout success in the store and you need to add more instances. You can do that here, or you can even configure something called auto scale, which means it'll just scale on demand as demand grows. So that's just a, excuse me, that's just a very quick lap through the Azure portal. So how did I actually talk to Minecraft, or have Minecraft talk to this? Let's go back into the game here and kind of dig into this rather complicated looking setup I have here. So you'll notice the chest actually is sitting on what looks like a computer. And that's a great example of the creativity of the Minecraft community. Someone actually built a mod for Minecraft, it's called Computercraft, and it lets you run a computer in Minecraft and program it using this Lua scripting language, which is just a really lightweight language that you can use to describe game mechanics and things like that. It's incredibly convenient for doing things like what I was doing here. And if I open up the computer, you'll notice it's kind of sniffing what's happening to the chest that's attached to it, knows when it's being opened and closed. And then you can see at the bottom here that whenever the chest gets closed, it kind of sends off a message somewhere to the cloud. I actually have the script ready here that it's using. This is the Lua script that's running inside of Minecraft. And it's pretty straightforward, and I'm not going to go through all this stuff here. Kind of the important function is this post chest contents. I don't know if you guys can see it well. But it's just taking basically my inventory and then just sending a request to my endpoint in Azure, the endpoint I just created in the portal. And it's calling something called update inventory in the cloud. So let's go and explore where that came from. So I go back to the browser here, I'll click on over the API tab. And sure enough, I have something called update inventory. And this next part is actually pretty cool. What you see here is the script for my service is actually available right in the portal. And it's not using, C# or C++ or any of these Microsoft languages. This is actually using JavaScript. This is powered by a Node.js backend running in the cloud for you. So it's actually super lightweight, very pleasant to work with, and again, editable right in the portal. So, if you want to make a quick fix, you can just do it right here. We also support Git, so you can, clone the repository where all this stuff lives, make a few edits, and push your changes, and they're live in production. If we walk through the script here, it's kind of really easy to follow. So basically, it looks for a table called inventory, and then it'll just stuff the incoming requests from Minecraft into that table. And if I go to the data tab, I can actually browse that inventory table and see what's in it. You notice it has basically 2 rows, and it's kind of a chronological record of what was in my chest. So it has a column for redstone, column for diamonds, basically 1 column for every in-game item that the chest is sending to the cloud. And this is pretty cool. I can actually see all my data right in the portal. I don't have to become a database expert and figure out how to go and query my DB to see these things. It's just kind of right in my face, very easy to debug and see what's going on. So One cool little thing is, this is actually quite smart. So you notice I have only 2 columns. If I go back to Minecraft and I actually add a completely different item to my chest, like let's say we stick in some dirt. Let's put a few pieces of dirt in there, close the chest, keep throwing things. All right, and then go back to the portal and refresh. I keep an eye on these columns, right? All of a sudden, I have a brand new dirt column here that was just created on the fly for me. And that's again to emphasize how much easier it is to develop using this model than sort of a traditional database. If this was a traditional database, you'd have to figure out, oh, I need to run I need to change the schema, I need to run a migration script, bring my data over. This just does all that for you. It's smart enough to adjust the schema in the table based on the input it's receiving. So very similar to NoSQL, some of these newer databases that you may be familiar with. So great. We figured out how to connect Minecraft and store data in the cloud. Now let's do the other part. How does my app get this data from Azure? I showed you the Quick Start project, and my app is actually almost exactly the same. I've just maybe customized a few things. And here, I just want to show you the project here, just to give you an idea. It's actually just a vanilla Android project. There's nothing secret here. I'm using Android Studio. Everything works just the way you would expect. So I've drilled into items activity here. I'm not going to go into details or write code, but I just want to draw your attention to this mobile service client object. And that's already pre-generated for me in the project. And it already has all the connection information it needs to talk to the cloud. So I don't have to do any pesky wire up or copy pasting of thing. It's just good to go. And I even have a reference to my inventory table waiting for me so I can start doing operations on it. One other thing here is this method gets called whenever someone presses that refresh button. And it shows you an example of building up a query object here. So you'll notice it says item table, order by, created at, in the descending order, which gets me just the latest status of my chest. And then it says top of 1. So it just asks for the very last item in the database. So this is actually pretty powerful if you think about this, because this doesn't run on the device. It's not like it's loading all the data from the database on the device and then going through it and wasting memory and CPU and burning your battery. This actually serializes that query. It sends it over and runs it in the cloud. So I only get 1 item back. Everything else runs lightning fast in a data center somewhere. And I can write some pretty complex stuff here. So pretty cool. So very easy to basically bring data from Minecraft into Azure and then connect my mobile app and pull that data in. So we talked about sort of one piece of this. Which was getting the contents of my chest displayed in the app. The other part is how do we get the push notification when someone enters the house. And this part gets a little bit interesting. So what you're looking at here is I have a pressure plate right outside the door here. And so when someone steps on it, it emits a signal. And I can show you that in a minute. And then there's this bloody looking thing on the floor. I don't know if you can see it. It's actually it's called redstone in Minecraft, and it's kind of like a copper wire, basically. It transmits signal between 2 things that are connected to it. So it's kind of feeding the signal from the pressure plate into this other computer. And if I open the computer, you'll notice it's running another program I wrote. It's the similar Lua script that I showed you. And every time the pressure plate gets triggered, it sends a notification to Azure. And I'm not going to bore you with the actual script that ends up getting called on the Minecraft side. I'll just show you the script that runs in the cloud to actually deliver the notification. So if I head over to the API tab, you'll notice there is this notify all users endpoint. And again, just a very lightweight script here that you can edit right in the portal to get your push notifications done. It goes ahead and constructs this little payload here. So basically it takes the message that Minecraft sent over and wraps it a little bit. And then there's essentially just a 1-line call. It says push.gcn.send to use the GCM notification service to deliver a notification to the device. Now, this might look trivial if I just have a single device, but think about this as your app grows. You might get, hundreds and even hundreds of thousands of installations of your app on all these different devices. And if you have to send a notification to all of them, that means going against GCM one by one with the registration ID for each device, and telling them, I send a message to that guy, to this guy, and to this guy. And there's a lot of things that can go wrong. The registrations can expire. And if you want to have anything close to real time, and you have a large number of users, like let's say you want to deliver 10,000 notifications at the same time, you can't just do it in series. You actually need to spread out and set up basically a farm of servers that each is doing multiple requests in parallel. So you're kind of blasting maybe a couple of hundred notifications at a time in GCM and getting them delivered to your devices. That's a lot of work to set up. And so Azure already has all that. We have that infrastructure set up in our data center, scalable to hundreds of thousands and even millions of notifications. We have, Office using that. We have the Sochi Olympics in Russia use that. We have Sunday Night Football using that to send you push notifications if you have their app on your phone. So we got everything set up in the cloud, deliver it, NFL scale, massive scale, and it's all hidden behind this very innocuous-looking one line of code. But behind that is actually be running code on hundreds and hundreds of VMs just by sending this, one API call to Azure. Another cool thing about this is the ability to connect multiple devices to the same notification service. So we actually have, if you have an Android app, great. And if you have, if your customers have this other phone and you have a version of your app for the other phone, you can have both of the phones actually connecting to the same notification hub, and you can use a single message to target basically all of them. So we support native notifications, which are device specific, but also sort of a templated notification where you just kind of send a little JSON payload, and it knows how to transform it and send it to the right notification service. So with a single call, not only can you notify a large number of devices, but you can notify a heterogeneous set of devices from different platforms. Great. So I think we're about done. I just wanted to kind of show you my house one last time here. Maybe show you the notification again. It's kind of cool to watch, actually. If I step on the pressure plate, you notice the redstone kind of lights up, and it looks like the blood is sort of boiling. It's kind of cool, creepy. And here's my notification once again. Cool. So let me just jump back to slides here for a minute. So I wanted to talk just very briefly about how we build this cloud, because this is a cloud for you. I mean, you are the target audience for us, so the things that matter to you matter to us. And so these are some principles that we've heard from the community that we keep near and dear to our heart. And that's, a lot of these will surprise you. It's a big shift from Microsoft and from what you might expect. First, I want to talk about working on all the popular devices. So we no longer live in a Windows-centric world, and Microsoft no longer owns all the endpoints out there, and we're adjusting to that. So whenever we design a new cloud service or a new API, we always think about making it available on Android and all the other popular platforms. We have all the major properties of Microsoft on board with this. So when Office releases a new API, you have an Android SDK, it's available for you to use first class. Azure is my team, and we do the same thing. We have Android SDKs for storage, push notifications, authentication, just everything we do, we make sure we make available on all these devices. The other thing that's actually very close to my heart is open source. And coming from a Microsoft guy, I know. But we actually have made a very earnest commitment to open source in a way that very few other companies have. So my team does all of our development, we do all of our development in the open on GitHub. And you'll see some companies talk about, well, we're open source, but really they're doing the development behind closed doors, and then every month they're kind of publishing a dump of their code to GitHub, and they're claiming it's open source. It's not really, it's just showing your code to the community. That's not open source. You want the community to be involved. So for us, we actually have our developers working in public branch off of our repo. And our issue tracker is public as well. So, you know, basically all our dirty laundry is out there for you guys to see, all the product bugs, everything. You can go and file a bug you know, keep track of it and see when we're fixing it. You can use labels to tell you pretty much roughly when we expect it to get fixed. So a very different paradigm from what you might expect from Microsoft. And the coolest part about this, which is my personally favorite part, is that we take contributions. So if you see a bug in our code and for some reason we're not fixing it, maybe the team has other priorities right now and just can't get to it, you can actually go ahead and submit a pull request for the fix. And as long as you coded the fix right, and as long as you remember to write your tests as well, we'll merge it right in. And so your code becomes part of the shipping product, and you can unblock yourself and go about your day. So this is very cool, very exciting, very different from Microsoft. And I can't talk about open source without also mentioning not just the first-party open source that we work on, but also the third-party open source that we're big contributors to. We actually have a whole subsidiary called Microsoft Open Technologies, whose job one is to contribute to open source projects on behalf of Microsoft. So I've thrown up on the slide some of the projects we've contributed to that you may be familiar with, Apache Cordova, jQuery, but the list goes on and on. I mean, we're a big contributor to the Linux kernel, Node.js, we're a contributor. We contributed to Redis. I mean, it's just huge. And this is an ongoing commitment. I mean, these guys have only been around for a year, and the list of contributions is just growing. So, open source, a big commitment for Microsoft going forward, especially when it comes to the cloud. Last but not least, I want to talk about sort of ease of development. The days are gone when you had to have a Windows PC in front of you, running Visual Studio to be able to talk to the Microsoft Cloud. Today, you can bring your favorite laptop, you know, and use it to develop for the cloud, even if it looks like this, and there's a shiny thing here. You can use that. All of our services are built to be lightweight, HTTP-based, and easily composable. And you saw that in action. I don't need to tell you this because you saw Minecraft and Azure just talking to each other quite effortlessly without us having to do anything. So just open standards, open protocols makes composition super easy. Our source control story is largely based on Git now. So you saw me editing code in the portal. I can also just clone that repository and push it via Git and deploy code to production that way. And then server scripting, you saw examples running Node.js, right? You don't have to run, you don't have to run any of the Microsoft web stack unless you want to. In fact, in addition to Node, we also support PHP, Java, Python. So basically, whatever stack you're familiar with, you can use. Moral of the story here is the tools and the frameworks and the processes that you're familiar with and you know and you love, just bring those to Azure and those should just work. You shouldn't have to learn a whole new skill set to become a cloud developer. But I want to stop pitching my product at this point. I want to talk about why we're here, why I'm here, and why you should care about the cloud. I think we all agree we now live in a mobile-first world, and that's why you're at this conference, and that's why we're all in the room, and we all have devices in our pockets. It's a mobile-first world. The innovation in silicon over the last 10 years or so has unleashed this great new set of form factors: the phone, the tablet, soon the wearable, your TV, the Internet of Things. I mean, there's just an explosion of devices that's really bringing us to the age of ubiquitous computing that we've been talking about for so long. So that's one trend, basically, the explosion of devices and form factors. Another trend is the explosion of users. If you think about it, we have millions, if not billions of users that are onboarding to the internet for the first time, and many of them using these devices. You look at the emerging markets, it's a huge, non-trivial number of people that are first getting exposed to the internet through mobile. So that's the second trend. And the third trend is the App Store explosion. We have millions of great apps now, and each of us is empowered to publish an app. So if you combine those three things together, it's kind of mind-blowing. You know, the explosion in form factors, the explosion in user growth, and then the explosion in apps. produces like an exponential amount of new data that's out there in the cloud. And none of these apps are local anymore. None of them store stuff on the device. So basically all that traffic is going straight to the cloud. And so when you hear Microsoft talk about this, we talk about not just a mobile-first, but also a cloud-first world. So for us, we kind of say it in the same breath. We say mobile-first, cloud-first. And they're not two competing priorities. They're actually just one and the same phenomenon. Explosion in mobile necessarily has to drive an explosion in cloud because the data has to go somewhere. So mobile-first, cloud-first. And the reason why this is compelling to you is because you need the tools. You need the tools and the know-how, not just to leverage mobile, not just to build amazing mobile apps, but also to be able to unlock the power of the cloud and the insight that you can gain from all that data that users are generating. That will literally enable you to build these transformative experiences based on that data. You don't want to miss out on the opportunity of leveraging the cloud. And today's cloud platforms make it very easy for you to do so. I mean, some of these capabilities you saw in my demo earlier, and some of them I didn't get a chance to demo, and you can come to the Code Lab at 11, and I have a session, and we can talk through some of these other ones. But you saw how to engage users with push, you saw how to store data, how to mash up services, Minecraft. What I didn't show was personalizing your application so you can easily authenticate the user and then use their identity to have a customized personal experience roam across all the different form factors for them. I didn't show analyzing your users' actions so you can kind of get deep insight about how they're using your app, and segment your customers and try and increase engagement across the different segments. These are all great things that the cloud can empower you to do. So I opened by talking about creativity, and I want to close again by talking about creativity. Don't be afraid of the cloud. Start using the cloud. Start unlocking the rich data and the insights that are stored there by your customers. Unleash your creativity with the power of the cloud. Thank you, and have a great rest of the day.